Well, it wasn't the Ritz, but it did work. I spent about half an hour at 2 a.m. going, please stop raining, because I really didn't want this gully slash gutter to turn into a gully slash gutter full of water. So I feel pretty fortunate that the rain stopped when it did before any of it could really accumulate. I'm gonna pack up. You hungry? We're moving. I think the next town is like 5 miles away. I think I might have figured out Jack's squinty eye problem. I think when he gets squinty eyed, it means he's tired. Because in the mornings, he's bounding around and has lots of energy because he just got a lot of rest from the night. And yesterday, he started to get a little squinty eyed and tired looking, so we just sat down and I let him pass out on my lap for about half an hour. And then after he woke up, we got ready to go again. And he wasn't squinty eyed anymore. Groundbreaking detective work. That should not have taken me that long. This is a local chain of grocery stores, but every time I read it, my brain goes, really? You really think so? I know when they make roofs, there's like a ratio, like 12 to 1, for how many feet up you go versus how many feet over you go. Or maybe like 12 to 3 or something like that. I wonder what that was. Nice. Not so nice. Hi, 2 things. Originally, I wasn't planning on going to Hamburg, because I was like, oh, I like small towns more than big cities. But Hamburg is kind of on the way, so I'd have to be like intentionally avoiding it. And 2, here's the reason why I always dislike big cities. Because I felt this pressure to like take all of them in. I didn't want to feel pressured, because it makes me unhappy, so I disliked them. Here's my new game plan. I enjoy the nice sights of bigger cities. My new game plan is just to walk through it and not do any Googling about what's there or what I should see, to just enjoy whatever I happen to see. If that makes any sense. So it might seem kind of like backwards to conventional logic. I feel like usually if you make all this effort to go somewhere, want to see the things that are there, or else it feels like you wasted. I think that's been the same sort of motivation driving me too. But I've been thinking a lot about this actually. I've been trying to figure out what it is that makes me happy. And it's just like the finding things without knowing they were coming. I remember I knew that at the end of America, and I would intentionally ask people to not tell me what was coming up ahead. So I didn't want to feel pressured to go see anything in particular. And if I did already know it was coming, I had like this expectation going into it. And I just find like the exploration process to be much more hard-hitting and beautiful when it's just organic. Like I feel like that's what it must have been like when you were one of the first explorers who didn't know what was already out there. And so they were just finding things and enjoying them as they found them. I don't know why that feels like that works so much better for me, but it just does. It makes a huge difference. So I might go to Hamburg and I'm just gonna pick a route through it based on what I see visually in front of me. If I see something interesting, I'll go to it. Other than that, I'm just trying to get through town. And I might miss some of the things that Hamburg is most famous for, but that's okay. I think I'll be happier doing it in the way that speaks to me versus in this way where I feel like I'd be wasting my time if I happened to go to Hamburg and didn't see the famous Hamburg things. But it's either do it my way in a way that I think will make me happy, or feel this anxiousness when I do go to big cities that makes me want to skip them altogether. Onwards across the countryside. Still loving the prevalency of these walking paths. So far, Germany still wins, hands down, in how many walking paths they have. They're everywhere. I see them on more roads than I don't see them. Even like this one, which is like a big road. I love it. I love it, love it, love it. This is the only bus stop like this I've ever seen. That's amazing. Unfortunately, the selection is good, but only if you speak German. There's one of those free trekking plats up ahead, not too far. Well, relative for a day. The general rule is you have to ask for permission to sleep on some of these trekking plats. And the only number listed there was like a German landline. It took me forever to figure out how to call it because I don't do that very often. And so I had a feeling it would be expensive. I'm pretty sure they charge by the minute. Our phone call took us 3 minutes. I looked it up afterwards and I think it was $3 a minute. It's ridiculous that still exists. lost our sidewalk. Here's maybe a cultural tidbit for you. They have a word here that they use as a greeting. Sounds like moin. I kept thinking they were saying good morning, but they would say it all day long. So I asked a kid. That's what he told me. I'm dying to know what's in that building. Don't ask me why. I'm sure if I got in there, it'd just be a bunch of old machinery and stuff. But the history that's just written all over it is fascinating. This is my absolute favorite kind of moment. I know I say that a lot lately. But I mean, you can't get a more, I don't know, out in the middle of nowhere feeling than just being out in the middle of these farms in Germany. And it's sunny and there's a good breeze. It's just a perfect moment. I'm just a happy little boy right now. I've found what works for me. These authentically random places, just off the beaten trail, and they're not advertised as beautiful. They just exist. Nobody's here trying to make a profit on how pretty it is out here. It just looks this way because that's the way it looks. There's no line of tourists. There's just a boy and his dog walking down a sunny country lane. And that is the most beautiful thing I can think of right now in my mind, because it's all around me. It's just filling my whole mind, and it's just perfect. And look at this. A couple hundred feet later, there's a picnic table and a trash can. Roads like this out here are meant to be used by people not in a car. I love that so much about Germany. I love it so much. I don't understand why. But the world is not always exclusively designed to be seen within the confines of a mechanized bubble with an engine. It's supposed to be smelt. It's supposed to be felt. It's supposed to be seen and touched, and you can feel the abrasion of pollen blowing in. You can just feel it. It's visceral and it's there, and that's how sometimes it's meant to be seen. So the fact that they have infrastructure to make that encouraged is just so amazing. I'm so passionate about this. It just affects you differently to be here, and not just to get out of the car briefly, but to pass through it for days and hours and weeks and minutes and months. And I know those were in and out of order in terms of longevity. But you can hear it, and you can feel it, and you even feel the effect of the sweat on your brow for hours and days. And it just puts you in a state, mostly a stinky one, but it just feels so much. There's so much feeling. And that is how sometimes you're supposed to travel. Or if you're like me, most of the time. It just hits different. Is it such a cliche to use an expression like that? It just affects you. And you give it enough time that it sort of permeates you. It has time to soak in. It's like being marinated. Adventure is like a marinade. Is that a thing? You take chicken or beef and you marinate it in seasoning, but you can't just do it for a minute when you get out of your car and take in the nature and the breath and the pollen and the sounds and the smells and the feel and the touch and the taste of the air and the fresh water. A minute doesn't marinate anything, but over a year or a month of being outside, or in my case now, almost 3 years of time just on the roads, it marinates my soul, and it changes you. It feels so good. Don't you think? He says yes. No, he doesn't. He just cocks his head. Don't you? It looks like the house is like a barn in the back half. That is what I call focus. Jack, we made it to town. 15.16 miles in today. I'm ready for the engineless revolution of cars, just for the sake of recording. I kind of want that building, but I don't think it's for sale. Also, there's a lot of plant growth inside. That's the color of sour cream and onion, not nacho cheese. So we've been taking more breaks because of my theory that that's what's been making Jack's eyes go all squinty. It's just tiredness, the need to nap, given how much he would nap when we were at home and not walking as much. Anyway, now that seems to have fixed it. But I was also giving him rides whenever he would be like lagging behind, because generally he'll be up in front of me by 10 to 20 feet. And now I think he just lags behind on purpose, because he knows I'll give him a ride. I think he's turning into a little bit of a lazy bum. But it's okay, he's cute. You a lazy bum? There was a Greek restaurant in town, and I was very excited to try it. Is this content? I don't know. But anyway, I got to town, it was still open, but I realized that the place we're gonna go tonight is still 3 miles away, which is like an hour at least, and it was already 8. And eating takes like an hour, you know, just start to finish at least. So that would have got us at the place at 10. I'm just done walking that late. Don't want to do it anymore. So it's a long story. So I was angry because I was expecting to eat good Greek food. Instead, I went to the grocery store and I'm just gonna have to eat more apples and stuff. So out of anger, I bought a 5-pack of Snickers ice cream. And I don't know if you know that, I don't have a fridge. So that means I have to eat all of it now before it melts. So don't shop when you're angry about the lack of Greek food. It's the moral of the story. Down, 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 down. What is love? Baby, don't hurt me, don't hurt me. No more. Getting chased by a doggy. Well, he started out real aggressive. Then Jack went right to the comfortable parts. He's not so aggressive anymore. I don't know whose dog this is. Well, I'm assuming it's theirs. We might have to backtrack a little. This dog came out of nowhere, so we might have to go bring it back to its owner. Okay, her owner came and picked her up. Fat lard, but with a killer view. I like it the other way too. It's the other side of the view. 1, 2. And the best view of all, Jack's tushy. Sitting on my hand. His tail in between the handlebar. Like a cutie. I found I can steer just by pushing on Jack directly. You know, go to the right, go to the left, stuff like that. And now I know, and for future reference, that he's a good hand warmer if we're ever walking like this and it's really cold. It's not right now, like I said. Future reference. Look at those, what are those called? Gutters? The spouts? I think those are dragons. Let's see if I can get closer. Does that look like dragons to you? I've got shaky hands at that, what's it called?
And when you need, you just push it close.
Alright, I know you can't really see me or anything, but we've at our spot. We're gonna set up our tent. Spent the last hour or so talking to Eunice. His mother is the one who created this place for cyclists and or walkers to stay. It used to be just a field, part of their fields that they farmed, I think. But then they planted apple trees and created it. They wanted to make it like an ecologically beneficial zone for the world, you know, and give it back to the environment, basically, the ecology. And then they allow only people who are biking or walking to stay here. Like, you can't come here if you're just like traveling in a car and wants to camp somewhere. And I'm really grateful, and he is awesome. So that's it for tonight. We're gonna set up our tent and go to bed. I think he wants us to drop by in the morning for breakfast too, so we'll probably do that. Nearly done packing up. Jack is napping, which I'm happy to let him do because he's a puppy and he needs to nap. Now it's time for me to take a bath. I think I will start taking baths in like lakes and stuff, but right now it's an emergency. Well, I mean, I'm kind of stinky. So hit the crucial spots with some baby wipes, and that's how it's done. Butterfly. Jack. Love story old as time. We're going. Oh, come on. back on the road. It's cool. I should have taken some videos. I always forget to take videos while we're chatting. You know, their house is, there he is, he's waving. Their house is an old schoolhouse. It used to serve as the schoolhouse for the little village up here and then the neighboring one up there. And I think it was designed to serve as both a classroom for, he said, up to 4 grades, as well as a residence for the various teachers. This is a fairly common style of construction around here. I'm always surprised that the mortar from the brick interacts well with the wood directly adjacent to it. Exactly sure where we're going tonight, but I did get the Warm Showers app re-downloaded onto my phone, and it looks like it's actually quite well used here in Germany. There are a lot of hosts in Hamburg. So I used to avoid cities because of a lack of place to stay for free, and now it looks like that's kind of where the most of them will be. Farewell, Lebats. See all these towers of rocks? I've never seen anything like it. This is pretty fascinating. So there's this little planter / retaining wall is made of these thin slabs of granite, which seems expensive. And their little trash can receptacle place, also made out of granite. Who has the money to make this out of slabs of granite? Apparently today we prepare to do battle with my mortal enemy pretty much all day. Rain. Supposed to start, forecasted to start, and in the next hour I'm already getting hit by drops as it is. And then continue without mercy for 4 or 5 hours, something like that. So I'm really looking forward to that. 8.9 miles in today, still no rain. Well, I mean, like, we got a few drops right when I was talking about it last time, like an hour ago, but nothing since then. I've only seen these here in Germany. I think it sells cigarettes, but they're like in the most random places on the street. This is like the 3rd one I've seen. I timed sitting down at this bus stop very well. I got that wet. See those drops on my backpack? You know, a couple drops. Right now it is really coming down. So I love it when I time it perfectly. Go ahead and fall. Do your worst, rain. I am safe. Update. It is now 6 p.m. It's still coming down. Okay, might be a risk. We're gonna get back on the road. Rain's cleared up for now. We'll see. My new goal is I don't really want to walk past 8. I just want to have some of that time in the evening that I was describing. So that means we've only got an hour and a half till 8. 2.5 hours at the most. So let's see what we can do about finding somewhere to rest our weary little heads tonight. That is a very pleasing house. Well, they had to paint their brick. Don't like painting brick. I also find it to be a bummer when the windows get bricked up. You know what I'm talking about? Very common. Well, I'm sure it makes sense. Doesn't mean I'm not allowed to find it sad. And I do. As is my right. Gorgeous plowed field. Fare thee well, Zarpen. On to Rhineland. The whole plants growing on the building thing is quite common in this particular corridor. Farewell, Binnenkamp. I was wrong. Rheinfeld is now the next one. This is Rheinfeld. Sleepy puppy alert. Getting a little bit of sun. Got some dinner. Took a lot longer than expected. Now we're just, doing the normal. Trying to find some exit. To try my farm fields idea. Jack's just licking his paw. Luckily, that's not the one that had an owie, so it doesn't really matter if he licks it. One of his paws had an owie on the 5th toenail, so I spend a lot of my time telling him, Jack, don't lick it. Don't lick it. Scouting out this little grouping of trees near the road, near like an on-ramp to the bigger road, labeled 1. See where I am? Have to be a German expert geography-wise. But I think that's our spot right there. It's very well hidden from passing traffic. My tent is green. There's a million shades of green in here and it works. So let's go get the cart and Jack And it's the perfect combination of like accessible enough to get my cart through the underbrush, but then dense enough that people can't see me once I'm there, which is actually more rare than you'd think. Usually it's either so dense that it really would suck to walk in there with a cart, or so undense that walking in the cart where there would be easy, but then you're super visible. So it's not really good at hiding yourself. Oh, Jack is still sitting right on top of the cart where I left him. He's been riding for the last 500 feet. I find in the evening, he just likes to take the ride. In the morning, he's got lots and lots of energy, but in the evening, he likes to take the ride. Here, I'll show you where I left him. Look at that little grin he's got on his face. Look at him nap. That is a perfect dog. I think I found our spot for the night. You excited? Or just sleepy? You don't say. I love this dog. It's what I'm gonna go with, so it's decided. I think there might be one aspect of our stealthiness that could be betrayed. People might have an idea where we went. Whoops. All done. Set up. Now I just gotta kill all the bugs that I've got in my tent while I was putting things in it, and then go to sleep. Good night. Subscribe to my Patreon too, if you're here. It's actually the biggest single reason I'm able to keep going. It's because of that particular platform. And yeah, I'll put my link in the description. I write on there. I like to write. I think I'm better at it than I am video making.